Cool. All right, welcome to the How I Built It show. Sorry, we were watching the end of the intro to the show, and we're a little delayed here. But welcome to the How I Built It show. Hope you guys had a wonderful week. It's been a hectic week, a exhausting week, but that's good because in the entrepreneur lifestyle, like that's normal. But I went to bed before 1 a.m. for like the first time in months last night. And it felt weird.
That's early.
It is early. It felt weird, but it felt good. It felt a little bit of everything. Quick shout out to our sponsors. We always have to give them some love. First, we have Seth Banda from Empire West Title. Thank you for always sponsoring the show. A. Bodden from Insurance Advisors of Arizona. And then Yvonne Hunter from Platinum Home Warranty. You should see their stuff on the screen right now. And if you don't, no worries. You can always PM me for their contact info. The show is obviously brought to you by the Augustiniac team at Prime Lending. If you need any help with lending as far as refinancing, purchasing, or anything along those lines, investing, you direct message me, and I'm happy to help and sit down with you and achieve whatever goals that you have in mind. This week, we have one of my personal clients and friends, Amanda. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
This has been a work in progress. I feel like everybody coming on the show is a work in progress because it's a weird time. I get it. It's Friday at 10 a.m. It's okay. People work. We figure it out.
This is better than anything I'd be doing on a Friday morning, just about.
Yeah?
I mean, I'm on the Andy Club show.
Yeah.
Come on.
You are a member. You are a VIP member now. It has been a wild week. I've known Amanda for actually quite a few months now. So she's been a client through one of our friends, Rima Bryant, who's a branch manager at Comerica Bank. Shout out to Rima. If you guys need anything help, she has an awesome zero interest credit card. So throwing you a plug. But no, Amanda is the owner, and her story is crazy. She's told me a little bit about her story, and obviously this show, if you don't know, if you've never tuned into this show is about local entrepreneurs. We support small business. I'm based out of Gilbert, Arizona. Amanda's based out of Gilbert. Is it Chandler or Gilbert? Because you're right on the border.
We're on the border.
Yeah.
So we kind of get the best of both worlds.
East Valley.
We love both of our families. So.
But I'm all about the story of the entrepreneur because that is the most inspirational part about what you do and how, for me, I want to inspire others and motivate others to step out of their comfort zone and do things that they may have never done because life is meant to be lived. So you want to fulfill your destiny and you want to do something you love, because if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
No, you're right.
Right?
And I spend a lot of hours down there. And if it's not your passion, it feels like work.
Yeah.
That's no way to live.
Yeah. And so this show is about our local entrepreneurs. So how I built it, how our local entrepreneurs built the thing that they're doing right now, or the thing that they're in process of building. It doesn't have to be already built. It can be in process. So we have Amanda. Amanda is the owner of Furniture Brat, formerly known as Potato Barn Outlet. You probably all have been there at one point in time. It's on the 202 and basically, what is that?
Between Lindsay and Gilbert Road.
Lindsay and Gilbert Road. It's right on the 202, so you pass it every single day. I pass it every single day. I've been there multiple times. Probably way too many times. I can name every piece of furniture in my house that I've bought there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. See, I remember.
See, we're part of the space that you're creating, and that's what we're after.
So, let's see. Yvonne, our Platinum Home Warranty sponsor, says Jim was so happy to see her on the show. He sent me a text last night. Jim Silva?
Yes.
Do you know Jim Silva?
I do.
Okay, look at a small world.
It is a small world. So
I feel like every day we figure out somebody
else. James was actually one of my instructors, and when I went to get my life coaching certification, because
really?
I've had a life coaching practice for about 15 years, and so we were actually texting each other last night. I sent him the podcast, and he's like, wait a minute. So he actually connected all the dots, and so he's one of my supporters. I really appreciate James. So
that's amazing.
And he goes by Jim, so that means you guys know him a long time ago.
So this This name of the show today is going a million miles a minute, and I came up with that. Did that fit? I came up
on the
with
way
that
driving here. You mean?
Well, no, I came up with that when I came up with the title for your show. So every time we have a new guest, I think of a title that I feel like portrays my guest. And from knowing Amanda, going a million miles a minute was the first thing that came to my mind because
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought that was the name of the show all the time for everybody.
No. How I built it is your title for your show is going a million miles
Holy
a minute.
Cow.
Did you like it? Did it
Thank
fit?
you. I appreciate it.
Because
it did when I was driving here this morning.
Because anytime anytime we talk, you're always doing something, and I'll walk into your office at Potato or Furniture Brand now. I got to get used to that. But your office is literally in the middle of the showroom. And you're doing all these things at once. I remember last time we did your loan, you're like, oh, I got to get you that. But you were doing so much at any given point. Next thing you know, I walk into your place and you can rent a U-Haul out of your place.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Because people need to haul off their furniture.
Well, I get it all the time. They're like, I got to get my brother's truck or my neighbor's truck or whatever. And after a while, I have a friend who actually moved down here from Utah, and he got into the U-Haul business and stopped by to say hi, and we kind of, put the two and two together, and I said, that doesn't make any sense to not do it.
Yeah.
So when I see something like that, if you can optimize and maximize what you're doing, why not do it?
You're capitalizing.
So I went, let's get U-Haul on here. So we became a U-Haul dealer. My husband's actually been extremely supportive, and he mans more of
the U-Haul side.
Well, he can do a lot more of that than, I'm doing so many things. And so he's been a great support in that capacity. So,
well, let's rewind. Let's take it years back because you've done so much. You've competed in Miss Arizona. You've done all this. So where did you come from and what are the stepping stones that you've taken to get to where you are now?
Well, so I actually, that's a big, long story. I'll see if I can sum it up really fast.
It doesn't have to be. It can be medium fast.
You want from
because we don't want to skip the things that are that make your story you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I came from. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago originally, and I moved to New York City and grew up in New York, and then moved to Arizona. My mom had remarried, and my parents divorced right at 7 to 9 years old. They were going through some stuff. So I understand kind of different situations for different people. And I thought, when we moved out here, I absolutely hated Arizona because there was no public transportation. And from the age of 6 years old on up, I was taking, my wings were there. I can get on a bus, I can get on a subway, I can get on a ferry. I came out here and it was a dead stop.
Yeah.
And for me, going a million miles a minute, I was like, this is depressing.
Yeah.
So anyway, I finished my high school here, and I went to Catholic school my whole life and wore a uniform. And there was just so many different influences in my life that kind of built some structure in there, and it was great. Loved sports. But more than anything, I think my best friend has been music. And I think music is what's taken me through all those seasons of life, because we were just talking about that in the beginning of the show and or before the show. And I think that, I learned how to do things that I had a passion for, and I just found my passion first in music. Yeah. And I didn't know how to read music, so I started playing by ear, and I thought I wasn't going to let what you couldn't do be what I couldn't do. You can't play because you need lessons. So all those little walls and blocks throughout life, that's kind of shown itself. I just thought, no, there's got to be a way around that wall. So that was always something that I was looking to do. And so you start becoming innovative with what you have. Yeah. And because you realize what you have is really you more than anything else when it's all said and done. Yeah. Only you're going to make it happen. Only you are going to make that way, And there are people along the way that I would call them doormen in my life. Yeah. They've opened the doors. Okay. And they've said, here, Amanda, I'll open this door for you.
Here's the opportunity.
Here's the opportunity.
But still, you have to do it.
You have to do it. You have to be willing, and you have to be grateful for the opportunity to see it through to the next thing. Because there's always a next thing.
Well, that's the funny thing. People talk about luck, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody has things that happen in their lives that are quote unquote lucky. Mm-hmm. But I think how you perceive luck is based upon how you perceive life. somebody could say to me, and I've gotten it many times, like, oh, Andrew's so lucky. Andrew's so lucky. And, that's one way of looking at it. But in reality, is luck really when opportunity presents itself and that person capitalizes on the opportunity? Because opportunity happens in everybody's life, but the difference is who sees the opportunity, who takes the opportunity, and who capitalizes on the opportunity.
Well, and it starts with your vision.
Yeah.
And if your vision is clouded and it's not clear, then you can't get to that place you want to be if you've got all these distractions. So to stay focused, which is always, as you say, I'm doing a lot of things at one time.
Hey, we were both late today. I walked in, I was like, if we're not late, we're not on time.
And that's where it's, you're always like trying to absorb as much of life into that moment. And then, if James is listening, but being present in the moment. And I found that there's a couple of things that we all need and want that connect us all as human beings. And I think regardless of our story and where we came from, we all have something that unites us. Do you know what that is?
What? Numbers?
Well, numbers, we could talk about numbers. That's a whole nother show.
Okay.
But the thing that we all want more than anything is to be safe. And if you compare that one thing in every single thing that you do, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, no matter what it is, we all want to be safe because you can't create unless you feel safe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
And that's what you want for your kids. That's what you want for your employees. That's what you want for the person you're working for. That's what you want to feel.
Yeah.
So when does fear ever come into play? It's when we don't feel safe. And so it's all how you think. So if you're thinking in a positive way, that's productive, it's ways that make you feel safe. When we're thinking with fear-based ideas, it's because we're afraid of something, we don't feel safe. So if you come back to why you don't feel good about something, it's because you don't feel safe. And then you have to ask yourself the question, why don't I feel safe?
Yeah.
And the second thing is worth. So if I had to put two of them together, it's to feel safe and to know your worth. And that's why we're always proactively creating. And I call everything we do creative choice, because you're always creating something.
Yeah.
So every choice you make is something that you're building. And so how you build it by one choice after the next choice and the next choice, and the consequences of those creative choices are creative consequences.
Yeah.
And so, and the biggest teachers, and I know that you're a young parent, are your kids, because I'll tell you what, you want to hear your kids parrot back to you. I've had 3 of my kids surround me this last week and been like, and it was a teaching moment, and they were like, come on, Mom, you're better than that. Yeah. Because I had my challenge in a certain moment. It's like, I always say my horns hold up my halo, but sometimes it's like, sometimes you want to just fight, or defend or make.
Well, and the kids amplify the two things you're saying, the safety and the worth. The kids amplify that, and they make you realize what that truly is, or they redefine it for you, which is crazy. Rima is watching.
Hi, Rima.
Rima's out of town right now. Again, shout out to Rima, branch manager at Comerica Bank on Power and the 202. She's awesome if you need a banker.
Yeah, and they do free notary services too.
Oh, yes, they do.
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're great.
My wife is a notary too, if you ever need one. But
awesome.
Just kidding. So all right. So let's. All right. So back to the story. So at this point in the story, are you in Arizona yet?
Yeah, I moved to Arizona. Finished at Westwood High School.
Okay.
And
you went to Westwood?
I did.
Ew.
And we're having. All right, all you guys out there, we're having our 30-year reunion, and you talk about
this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Being just blown away.
Yeah. When
I went, 30 years ago? 30, that's crazy. But anyway, love my Westwood family, love all the years from 87 to 89 was when I was there.
Okay.
And I feel like I was part of every year. But anyway, got married, had 4 children, 4 wonderful human beings that I, love dearly, and then was on my own for 14 years after a divorce, and remarried in 2017 and gained to my family my husband and 3 wonderful kids.
Wow.
So I'm very proud of every one of them. Glad to be, I call them my God kids, my godchildren, because thank God I didn't have to have them. And I get the best part. I got you know, I didn't have to do the hard work in the beginning, but, you know, thanks to their mom and their dad, but I get to have them in my life, so it's special.
So how'd you get, you mentioned competing in Miss Arizona. How did you get involved in that?
So that was, I want to say, an absolute fluke to some degree. My neighbor down the street was like, you would be so good at this.
It was an opportunity.
It was an opportunity. Okay.
It was an opportunity.
It was an opportunity.
Recognized.
My girlfriend down the street entered me into this pageant, and up until the time that I had even really took it seriously, I thought it was just scam mail that was coming in our mailbox. I threw everything away. And up until like the week of the actual pageant, they called me on the phone and they said, you know, hello, is this Amanda? And I said, yeah. And they said, you know, you haven't responded to any of our mail. And I laughed and I said, you know, that's not me, you know, because I'm literally not that type. I don't foresee myself as a pageant girl. Yeah. So I went, you know, I said, I think you made a mistake. I said, you know, I didn't enter into anything. They said, yeah, well, so-and-so entered you in. And, you know, and I went, oh. And they said, well, if you don't come, we don't have anybody to represent Northeast Mesa. And I was shocked because I was like, now I felt like I had to save the spot, you know. So here I am, 4 kids. I barely had my youngest son, Cooper, and we had a new dog. And there was just a lot in life going on at the time. And I went, okay, well, I'll show up. And they sent a gal who, ironically, and this is how full circle things come, I walked into this woman's country store. Her name is Christy Sherwood. She took second place in Miss USA in, I think, 1992. And I walked in her store, and she had said to me, she goes, would you ever think about being a part of a pageant? And I kind of chuckled, pushing around my dual stroller with my 2 kids a year apart. And I went, you know,
this is the same time that you just got that call.
No. This was back in 1992. Okay. Let's fast forward. So when I was actually entering in the pageant was 2001. Okay. But back in 1992,
gotcha.
The woman who was at my front door,
no way,
with clothes for me, because I had no clothes to wear for this pageant coming up in 3 days,
was the person that 9 years before.
We didn't know. She didn't know who I was until she was on my front doorstep. And so, anyways, I said, hold on a minute. I looked at her. She looked so familiar. But going back to that 1992 moment in her country store it was like Southern and Gilbert Road. Yeah. I go, she handed me the pamphlet. I kept that pamphlet in my drawer all those years. And I said, Christy, could you hold on just a minute? And I went in my office and I looked around in my files and I found that pamphlet. I said, is this you? And she just looked at me like shocked that she was on my front doorstep and we were both looking at each other. And the reason I never had entered is I had not yet become a citizen of the United States. And you had to be a citizen in order to participate, you know? And so I blew it off. And then here my neighbor down the street was entering me in. Well, in 1999 on September 17th, I had become a citizen of the United States. And I was so proud of that because my whole childhood, you know, I would sing the Star Spangled Banner and we would sing, you know, in Catholic school, you would do the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. And so I was very patriotic, even though this was not my birth country. Yeah. And I, you know, was thinking, gosh, I can't believe all this is like falling into place the way it is. Anyway, lo and behold, I went and participated in the pageant with size 8, and I was a size 6 at the time. And I didn't plan on winning. I was just filling the role. Yeah. And went through the interview process, and as I'm standing on stage, as you know, I'm thinking, I got laundry to do. I got to iron the boys' shirts.
I got to get home right now.
I got to get church clothes together. I'm thinking of everything that I have to do. And then I see people moving in on me. And so at that point, then I realized, oh my gosh, something's happening. And I had no idea that I had been granted the privilege of being, you know, the Mrs. Arizona of 2002. So it was quite or 2001, excuse me.
I have Miss Arizona 2001 in my studio right now.
You know what? And that title, but let me tell you, no. That title didn't feel suitable. Yeah. Because I knew the road that I had traveled, and I thought, you know, I get to do the laundry with the crown on. I'm still the same person, you know? And it's kind of like when you get the new car. I don't know about you, but that was more exciting getting a new car than because you go out in the garage in the middle of the night and you open the door. You're like, did I really get that car? And then you close the door, then you drive it. But wearing this title for me was something that I had not planned on. Yeah. It really was a gift, I felt, and an opportunity.
That was capitalized on.
And I got to see kids in a way that I would normally not have. And I got to be an influence that I wouldn't have thought that I could have been. So it was fun for that. I think it was especially more fun for my kids at the time.
Yeah.
But ironically, that was, and we won't get into it, but that was not only an interesting time, but was probably the hardest year of my life. Mm-hmm. And it really was transformational. And towards the end of my reign, if you will, I realized that, nothing is permanent. Like, you really are just who you are on a daily basis and not what you wear. It's really how you treat people. And so ultimately, just kindness, just being kind to people, is just kind of at the bottom line of everything we do. We don't have to agree and see things eye to eye, but just being kind and being open and being able to appreciate someone else's experience. And you're doing this show, and I'm sure you get to see so many people and all their stories, but all those stories help refine kind of who I want to be in the moment. Back to the moment. Who am I being, not what am I doing? Yeah. Because who you be is more than what you do, and what you do is touched more by who you be. Does that make sense?
Totally. Okay. Totally. And really quick, if you're just tuning in, we're here with Amanda Shaffie. She's the owner of Furniture Brat, formerly known as Potato Barn Outlet. You've all kind of been there. We're in the middle of her story, so if you're tuning in now, feel free to rewind later and hear the first part of the show. So we were just talking about Amanda competing in Miss Arizona back in 2001 and winning.
And it was Mrs., just so to be fair.
Mrs.
And have
Mrs. Arizona.
Yeah,
Mrs. Arizona. Okay, so then what? Like, what happens after that? Like, you're a mother. You've done the pageant thing, and then what do you do? Like, how did the next 10 years go?
Well, I found myself going, I have 4 children and 4 people depending on me to figure out how to put food on the table. I didn't have a college education. And so I thought, I've got to innovate, reinvent myself, and I've got to make a living for these kids. So I was blessed with the opportunity to go work for a gentleman that was one of my doormen in my life. Okay. And he opened the door and he said, come be my marketing director. And he actually invited me to come and, participate in an investment meeting for, you guys probably are familiar with Rose's Mexican Grill. Mm-hmm. He had owned, he was one of the owners of the original one on Mesa Drive in University. And so he also, was also the franchise.
Tia Rose's?
Tia Rose's on Mesa Drive, yeah.
Crazy.
He,
I used to be a CrossFit trainer.
Really?
At the one next to the one on Higley and Guadalupe.
Oh, really?
Like next door.
Look at you. Well, this was like way back in the probably, obviously early 2000s. Yep. And so the original owner of it had sold it. And then this gentleman who hired me, Ken, he had said, come to this meeting. And then all of a sudden in the middle of the meeting, he said, and now Amanda's going to explain the dishware that we've chosen.
You just came to this meeting.
Yeah, I just came to the meeting to observe. And he says, and I thought, oh my gosh, what's going on? So I got up and I winged it, pretending that I owned the part. Yeah. And so I said, we chose this for this reason and blah, blah, blah. And I went on. And anyway, before you know it, I had a job being his marketing director, which was a blessing, and sort of started opening more doors for me. And, as I continued on, people would ask me, what do you do? And I go, what is it that you need? And if they said graphic design, if they wanted whatever it is that, I could do within my capacity of marketing, I became a promotional products representative, and I started selling T-shirts and pens and you name it. So everything and anything that I could do graphically or, that I could create for a company's need, I was just self-taught. And so I kept on just jumping, to the next thing. So I became like the jack of all trades. And I did interior design because it was one of my passions for so many years. And I created Sassy Jack Interior Designs. Okay. And at the store, they know me as Sassy. Mm-hmm. When I started working at Potato Barn Outlet, there was another young lady that was working there, and her name is Amanda. And I went, we're going to get confused with this, so I'll be sassy. I'll just be sassy. And so that kind of stuck. And lo and behold, here we are. Had no idea, like doing the interior design business, and the last name was Jack that I created for Sassy, JACQ instead of K, but jack of all trades, doing everything and anything I can to make sure that I can have my kids depend on me and I can afford the things that I needed to. And, again, blessed with lots of good people in my path that opened doors for me. And then I had, after Ken, I can tell you that, and then I had a really great friend, Al, that opened another door for me and said, they all saw potential in me. That said, here, I know you can do this, so do it. And there's nothing better than feeling the faith someone has in you and says, and you want to rise to that challenge. And, and then, of course, the owner of Potato Barn and I have been friends for, around 20 years, and I appreciate him and his belief in me and giving me the opportunity to serve in the capacity of running that store, and to now being, the owner of it is still like mesmerizing for me.
How was so obviously you did the interior design, but getting into like the actual furniture side of it and the sales and picking things to bring into your store and sell, and like how for people who don't know about the furniture business, how crazy is it, or how quick and high paced is it?
It's fast.
Yeah.
And I have to say that for me, I can't take all the credit on any of that. I feel like I'm just being mentored and taught by Greg, and obviously a lot of the other store owners, we all support each other.
Yeah.
So I feel like the little sister in a sense, or the offshoot. That's why I'm Furniture Brat, or some people will say Potato Brat or Sassy Brat, whichever. John's probably listening. He calls me Sassy Brat. Anyway, one of our vendors. But, the thing is, it's just that I think that when you learn what someone's done, and they've done it so well, learning from the best, why reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
He's got a system that works. I've seen it work. He's been in business. He's outrun lots of stores that's been tried and failed.
Yeah.
He's successful, and he successfully puts his mind to it. He sees what he wants to do, and
well, look at Potato Barn starting in that one little location in Gilbert.
Yeah, I mean, right there in an actual Potato Barn. A lot of people go, "What is the Potato Barn?" I go, "It's."
Oh, that was an actual. I did not know that.
Yes, it was an actual Potato Barn, and he went with that name, and his son Mike and his wife Lindsay runs the Scottsdale store, and Tim and Lisa runs the Chandler store. Julia runs the Dana Park store.
Okay.
And we also have a Latitudes, which is in Tucson.
Okay.
And then Furniture Brat, which is the Potato Barn outlet, still the outlet, but also a furniture store, is still at the Germain location. And just for a lot of the people listening, a lot of the customers struggle to find it. They could see it off the freeway.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't find you. You have to go north on Silverado and go straight back off of Silverado and past the cul-de-sac, and you'll run right into the building. Just don't run into the building.
Yeah.
You'll see the U-Haul. And
I'm not going to lie. I mean, one time before I knew you, I drove, because you have such a big back area behind your store. So Brittany was in your store one day for like an hour, and this was in Anderson, was maybe like a year and a half old. And I drove around just doing circles in your back parking lot for an hour and a half.
You did.
So if you ever saw like these tire tracks that were in circles,
good.
That was me.
No, but there's a lot of people that that like to test drive their vehicles in the
I'm
back
sure
there.
You have a lot of room for donuts and all that stuff.
Don't encourage that.
I was in a Yukon, so I did not necessarily do the donuts.
Yeah.
But now you have your son working for you, right? Or does your son and your daughter work for you?
Yes, actually, I have Cooper. Has been working for Potato Barn. Greg's been like a godfather to him, so the godfather of the furniture business. And since he was 11, he's been kind of like learning and doing fun things, and Greg was always so sweet to allow him to be a part of that boys group, and the Potato Barn family's been part of our family for years.
Well, and it's cool to see, like, every time I go in there, he's there hustling and chirping back and forth with you, entrepreneur. I mean, that's how you raise kids and your children to be those creative minds, the entrepreneurs, to go figure it out. And when I was in there the other day, he was hanging stuff up, and you were kind of directing him, but he was doing his thing. He's like, I got it, Mom, I got it, Yeah, well, something you won't get at every furniture store is the family aspect of the business, because we work together, we
we have that mother-son relationship.
Yep.
We have that employee-boss relationship, and and he's patient. He has to deal with some of my, there's sometimes I'm like, come on, let's get going. We got this, we got this, we got this, and he knows how to work with me. We get on each other's nerves. We want to, I want to punch him in the nose sometimes.
Yeah.
He's going to be listening to this, but obviously I say that jokingly.
He's not going to pick you up lunch today.
No, that's okay. We trade off. Now we're trading off. I guess he bought me lunch a few times this week. But he is very, very helpful, and he sasses back, and I guess he comes by it honestly.
Yeah.
But he's got a lot of great ideas, and he handles taking care of the furniture, fixing it.
Really?
If there's something that needs to be repaired, he can do that, and he has done that for several of our customers on the side to earn extra money for college. Yeah. And so he does stuff like that. And then I have my daughter, Megan, who's come on board, and she's come to help out originally. She's like, Mom, this is a monster. You need help.
Yeah, you do have a monster.
She came in and she started helping out, but, I put her on and brought her.
Your location is so big.
It's bigger than you realize, because when you walk in, most people don't realize behind the magic curtain there's a whole lot more to see.
Well, you have this little storefront. I mean, you took just a natural commercial spot and you turned it into a retail space, which is genius, because I'm sure that type of retail space doesn't cost as much as a storefront at a strip mall, mall type place.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. It's industrial. And the industrial aspect of it means that, we're playing around with that a little bit some more.
Yeah.
Uncle Bear's just moved in across the street from us. And I'll put a little plug in for them because they're a neighbor, but they have a tap room that's across, and this is where they brew all their beer.
Gotcha. So but they still have they have a little restaurant there too, right?
They don't, from what I know. I can't really speak about that. I don't think they have any food. I think it's just a tasting space, and I think once in a while they'll bring some live music and they'll bring in some food trucks, but they brought in some traffic, and they've brought in some of the people. The wives come in, they go, honey, go over there and just have a few beers and let me have your credit card.
Yeah.
So it's been an interesting, fun mix of people that we've had come in.
But you guys have, you walk in, and I'm sure, have you been to the location on the 202, or is it Germain and Lindsay?
Yeah.
You walk in, you have this showroom, and then you have two of the industrial spaces in the back, where you keep the majority of all the furniture, right?
All the inventory, and
which is a lot.
And we do right now, because we've been operating as the warehouse and the outlet, and since we have warehoused all the furniture for all the stores, we've been the distribution center for all the stores. And so but the new store's going up, and the new stuff, everyone's asking, where's the new store? When's it going to be done? Okay, so let me tell you officially, the new Potato Barn is going to be the granddaddy of them all. It's going to be, hopefully, we're looking around April, May for it to be done. And it's going to be just east of Power Road on Ray. And kind of as you're going to the airport, Gateway Airport, you'll pass that first light and you'll keep on going, and it's going to be on your left-hand side.
Yep.
So not quite as far as Haas, I don't think.
No.
But just before Haas.
Right along the freeway.
Yeah.
That's where I got stuck on the freeway.
Oh, really?
I was on my way to Rima's office because I bring him pizza every Thursday.
I'm going there Thursdays.
Yeah, you should. And I was on my spare going to drop it off, then going to Discount Tire, got stuck, and I was literally across the freeway from where the new Potato Barn outlet is going to be.
Okay.
Or not.
You're going to throw pizza at them; they'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
They love pizza.
So now you've been running the furniture business, and you have. I'm sure you've had, like every entrepreneur, you've had successes and you've had blows, and you've gone through those. Like what have you experienced that you've learned from?
I think ultimately you look at the numbers at the end of the day, and there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days. There's going to be good months and there's going to be not so good months. But I have to say that every day that I get up and I go to work, I'm still going to work to do what I love. Mm-hmm. And my goal is I just want everyone that comes in to leave better than we found them.
Yeah.
Whether they buy or they don't buy, I don't so much of my focus in the beginning was, the numbers, and numbers do play a role. So let's not say it doesn't.
Yeah.
But ultimately it's, what are they going to remember and what's the takeaway when they leave? Are they leaving? And hopefully, I mean, I can only do so much.
Yep.
You know, you can't make everyone happy. And we have some strict policies, you know, as a whole with all our sister stores. And because our margins are what they are, we bring such valuable quality pieces at such a reasonable, you know, rate.
Yeah.
We don't negotiate. And that's something that is always a little bit of a challenge. If there is a challenge, it's just that, you know, people want what they want, and I understand it. And then sometimes, you know, they want to negotiate prices, and you know, you want to give it to them, but then you realize that you've still got a business you've got to take care of. You've got an overhead. You've got things you got to take care of, and you're still bringing it by far a fraction of the cost of what a regular retail store would be bringing or charging for that same piece.
Oh yeah, trust me.
So,
I'm very against some other stores that may rhyme with the name.
Don't do it.
I won't say it. I'll tell you just one quick story. When I saw these mason jars for sale at said rhyming store for $8 a piece, and then I went to the dollar store and saw the same mason jars for sale for $1 a piece, I was just very, very rubbed the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and retail is not the same across the board.
No, it's not.
It really isn't. And, you know, and that's the, everybody wants the deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't blame them for that. I want the deal.
You want the deal,
right?
Yeah.
But I've also got a new perspective that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
You know, I used to work for an employer that I used to take the water bottle out of the fridge, and, you know, he would say, you know, could we use the water from, you know, the watering fountain that we've got, the big old 5-gallon, you know, water. And I thought, gosh, and at first I thought, really, is $1 really going to matter? You know, and I felt like, am I not worth this bottle of water? Give me a break, you know? So I had such this attitude. And then now that I run my own business, I realize that every penny does count, because it's a water bill, it's your utilities, it's, you know, it's your dumpster, it's everything. So running a business, there's real cost involved. We're not a swap meet. We're not a garage sale. We're a real business. And so in order to stay alive, you know, as much as you'd like to give everybody what they want, you've got to make sure that you're giving them the best you can, doing the best you can.
Yeah.
And that, you know, I can't go negotiate gas down the street to say, well, I like to have it for $1.50 a gallon.
Yeah.
They'd laugh at me. But, you know, we try to give the fairest price. And that's one of the things I've learned with him, with Greg, is just that, you know, he's, you know, sometimes he's like, you know, what does he say? A fast $5 is a much better deal than a slow $10, you know, that you might make on something. And, you know,
but the reality is with you guys is you what I've noticed, you know how when you walk into Potato Barn or your Potato Barn outlet and your locations, the price over the price, like you guys have a system to markdowns and when you need to get rid of stuff, right?
So what we do, and at least at my store, so what I do as Furniture Brat is the outlet piece, we are an outlet and a furniture store. So all the pieces that come in that are scratch and dent, we absorb all those. Mm-hmm. And there's lots of people like my son Cooper who are creative enough and handy enough that they want the deal.
Yeah.
And if it's like $500 off of what regular retail is because of a knob, a hinge, or, you know, a crack or whatever that they want to repair, they rather be industrious and try to figure that out rather than pay top dollar.
Yeah.
So we get all of those. And we take the weeds, as we say, that come in shipping and handling, and we plant seeds in the community. And every month we look for someone that we help from our location. And that's something that I've done ever since I started. By the way, our opening day was July 4th, which was very important to me, being an immigrant and also living the dream.
Yeah.
So 4th of July, Independence Day, was our opening day last year as Furniture Brat, our Dandelion outlet, home of the Furniture Brat. So anyways, lots of stuff. But anyway, then we take off of their floors, all the other stores' floors, and they send us stuff. And as it ages, we discount it. So you get discounted pieces, you know, that as it ages, it starts getting drop tagged, and then, of course, the scratch and dent. And alongside that, I bring in lines that are specific to our store.
Gotcha.
That I buy as the buyer. And so there are things that I'll pick out that I like with the different sources that we have, and bring those in. And so that makes our store a little bit unique.
Yeah, that is cool. So with your location, you kind of have the best of almost every world in your little family plus more.
Yes. We try to be, we're what I would call a boutique furniture store.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of something for everybody. And, and I want to bring in things that you're going to feel that they're special. They're not over, saturated in around you. You're not going to go to all your friends' houses and see the same thing. But that's the nature, and that's the thing that's sweet about all the stores. And, we try to give you that one-of-a-kind feel. So, and I always say the furniture that we carry breathes. It's not laminate. It's not press board.
Yeah.
We don't do that. It's all real wood.
Amen.
So it will breathe. It will eventually crack or whatever. It's just what it is.
That's the beauty of the piece, though.
That's the character. That's the personality. I actually am driving the Mini Cooper that Greg used to drive, and I always wanted a Cooper because of my Cooper, and so I just bought that from him, this past year, and it's got a distressed paint job.
It sticks out.
And I thought, none of us are perfect.
Yep.
And so, I always have a couple of different jokes when people go, gosh, did you do this on purpose?
Yeah.
I said, well, it goes so fast, the paint's just coming off. Right. I don't know what to tell you.
If you see a Mini Cooper that has like a distressed look on it, like that you would think would be from
driving a million miles a minute.
Yeah. It's
sorry,
Amanda.
Guys.
It's Amanda.
I'm sorry.
And you can follow her to her location to buy some furniture.
Yeah.
But okay, fun. So can you believe it's already been 42 minutes?
Well, we have fun when we get together,
right? And we'll have you on for another show. But I want to close it up, tying it back together to you as an inspirational woman who's done so much and capitalized on certain things, but also have probably failed in other things, but have gone through experiences. For somebody listening who or will listen, because this will be on my Facebook page, so tune in over the weekend or whenever you have a chance, because I know a lot of people are working right now, they can't watch. But what would you say to that person who, from listening to you and sees you who runs this ginormous location of a furniture place, and no matter what business it would be, but for you it's your location with a U-Haul dealership or dealer within it, where you've kind of partnered a need for your location. Like somebody's looking at this and be like, man, like look at her, she did that. Mm-hmm. She's running this furniture business. She found another way to generate revenue, and somebody may be watching you and getting that feeling of like, how do I do that, or where do I get started? What message would you give to them?
I hear that and I feel humbly grateful to tell you that if it was me, that would be one thing. But I will tell you, and this may sound a little bit too religious for a lot of people, or spiritual, but I don't do anything without the help of God. And He blazes my path for me. I have a will. I have a passion. I try to do good by Him. I try to do the right thing, and the right thing in my heart, and live my truth. And I think you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And so if you're in alignment with the right things for the right reason, that you are going to be blessed with the opportunities of having the right people to help you succeed. But you have to come from a place of your truth. Mm-hmm. You have to come from a place of having true, raw integrity of just what are you, who are you, what is it that you want to accomplish, how do you want to leave the people around you whether it's that second that you only, whether it's the cashier, whether it's the busboy, whether it's the server, whatever that is, what is it that you want to leave behind? And it's not really, so much of what you're creating, but what in terms of the materialistic sense, but what is the impression that you leave, and how can you help care for your fellow man? How can you love them? And the thing is the people around me is really why I'm successful. I mean, it's not because I think of some great, gift that I've been specifically given. I think we all have amazing gifts and talents that if we utilize that and point it in the right direction, I think you can achieve just about anything that you want. But you have to get all the nonsense out of your head. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, and I'll say this real quick, in life coaching, all of the stories, all of the experiences that we had formed a belief system. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, people think, gosh, I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I coulda, shoulda, woulda all over myself. And a lot of that happens over and over again. And the judgment that we blanket ourselves is from that belief system of what we could have been or should have been or didn't do. Every experience you had, good or bad, taught you something.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be where you're at without some of those bad experiences, and you wouldn't see what you see now without learning what you had learned. And so I'm still learning. I'm still a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure it out. I still have challenges with people and situations, but you're not your story. You're writing your story. Your story's from here on out. I mean, what's happened and what's been in the past help cultivate and refine you where you're at today. Mm-hmm. Now what are you going to do with it? Because that's all knowledge. That's all awareness that you gained. And so, sure, we all have things that we wish we could have done different, but that comes, as they say, in hindsight. You had to go through that to have the awareness you have now that you didn't have then, because you would have done it the same way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a chapter in a book.
Yeah.
And every chapter, even though every chapter is part of this whole book,
yeah,
every chapter is different in its own way.
Yeah.
It still aligns in the story, but every single chapter will start and finish.
Yeah.
And the reality is that chapter in entrepreneur's life or your personal life, what you're saying is it's going to finish in some way. The story keeps going on.
Yeah.
But the chapter ends, and you want to recognize that it's going to end. So even if you're going through something negative or a bad experience, the reality is that's more knowledge for you, but end that chapter and take it and move on to the next chapter.
I had a good friend of mine tell me one time, he goes, everything good or bad is happening for your greater good.
Yeah.
And so in the moment of the bad, while you're in that moment of not feeling, just know that this is refining and it's for your greater good. There's something coming that's better, or there's something that's happening for you to fulfill the purpose. And it's part of that vision that you have, but it's what you're holding in here, and what you're holding in here. And so you just have to be really true to like I said, living up to your truth, and being real about it. But everybody embraces life on different levels, and everybody goes at different paces. And, I guess I'm anxious to eat up as much life as I can in that moment, and have as much as I can in that moment without too many distractions getting in the way of going, what is the real big picture? Why are we doing all of this? So,
You are a very inspirational individual. I love knowing you. I love being friends with you.
I feel like we've known each other for so long.
Yeah,
it's not like when I first met you and we talked, I thought, all right, well, you don't know who this is and how far it's going to go and how long the friendship is going to be. But I feel like I've known Andy forever. And so we just, really connected from the very moment that we sat down and visited. And it was really, I had no idea that it would turn into what it has been. And I look forward to the journey. Beautiful wife and kids.
Thank you.
I think Brittany's just awesome. I mean, I met her and you could see and feel her warmth and her authenticity, and she's just a loving human being. So, and I didn't even get the chance to visit with her very long, but she really is. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. And I know she's watching and she appreciates it as well. If anybody wants to go just see Amanda, because like I said, her office is in the middle of her showroom. I'm not even kidding you. I go there on random days and I'll just lay on her couch. And then I'll just, while her son's doing some stuff, I'll just be there critiquing it with her. And then he'll trip out. It's such a fun location. Make sure to go stop by. She's part of the whole Potato Barn family. Her store is Dandelion Outlet, but Furniture Brat.
Furniture Brat's what's going to go on the building.
On the building.
Because you all want what you want, and so do I. So we're all just going to be bratty together. So when I say brat lines and brat pieces, that's us. That's what we want.
So visit her store. It's going to be on where you drive along the 202. It says Potato Barn Outlet. It's going to be Furniture Brat, but she's part of that whole family. Go visit with her. Go talk. See what they have, because like she was saying, she has furniture from the Potato Barn line, but she also gets furniture from all different locations that are kind of unique in their own way. So it's not just one type of furniture.
You'll see the familiarity. Potato Barn is saturated throughout our whole store, but there'll be certain specific things that I'll bring in that's specific to my taste and what I like, and just kind of what speaks to me. Just every store has its own feel and own characteristics, and I think each store operator does a great job at what they do at their store in giving a little bit more of their expression into the to the showroom that
Yep.
they have there. And I mean, every store is awesome, and I don't think you can go wrong doing your search at any of our stores. And just a little plug for our friend in Tucson. A lot of people don't realize Ricardo and Kristen in Tucson run Latitudes, and they are, a lot of people drive up from Tucson to come see us, which we're happy to see you, but also stop by and see him too over there. So
well, good. I did not know that as well, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that's news to everybody. So again, Amanda's location, it is on Germain and Lindsay, right off the 202. If you guys stop by, I'm sure it's packed on Saturday. Saturday's got to be the most busiest day, right?
Saturday is our busiest day.
Yeah.
It really is. A lot of the hunters come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then they bring their spouses.
Yep.
After they have a few drinks, some of them.
Yeah.
And then and pick out their furniture. But let me just tell you, if you see it and you love it at any of our stores, you've got to pull the trigger, because if you don't and you come back and it's gone, our heart breaks every time that happens.
You see it all the time.
And a lot of people come in and they're like, oh man, I thought it would still be here. I'm like,
nope.
You don't even know. I've had people who want the same piece within minutes. That it sat there for 2 months, nobody bought it, and then within 2 minutes, 2 people want it at the same time, and then we're like, okay, so
and you're
those are tough moments. Those are tough moments. But I do want to say real quick and mention all my kids, just so that if they're listening and watching, Megan, Zach, Nathan, Cooper, Connor, Kira, Taylor, love you guys, and Mark, my husband. Thank you so much for your support. This man lets me be who I am. He never clips my wings. Free to fly.
Love it.
He loves my individuality, and he supports that. And so I just want to tell you, honey, thank you. It's hard to stand by my drive sometimes and my passion, and that comes in all forms. So, he has to put up with that. So thank you so much for that.
Well, that's awesome to hear. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll have another show that's even more geared toward even life coaching. So I would love to have you on again. Thank you to our sponsors, Beth from Empire West, Abe from Insurance Professionals Arizona, Yvonne from Platinum Home Warranty. Thank you for always sponsoring the show. My name is Andrew Augustiniak. I'm the branch manager and loan officer at the Augustiniak team at Prime Lending. If you guys have any questions on real estate, investing, refinancing, whatever it is, direct message me. I'm happy to help. That's my passion, is helping people. Lister Pros, thanks for always producing an awesome show. We love you guys. Have a great weekend. We'll catch you next week.